Welcome to the PFM couch at AFROSAI-E. I am Edmond Shoko. Since 2017, when the prototype of the PFM Reporting Framework was developed through the work of AFROSAI-E, the GIZ, and a host of AFROSAI-E member countries, the tool has been welcomed into the world community of practice of other broad diagnostic PFM tools out there. Now, as AFROSAI-E and the community of practice, we have since stopped talking about what the PFM tool can do. Here we are in 2022 with a new conversation, a new world, a new discussion, and that discussion is on what has the PFM tool done. Now today I wish for you to join me as I am going into discussion with a very familiar face in the InterSci world. I am going to have a chat with the Auditor General of Kenya. Our discussion today is going to focus on two things, or two areas rather. First of all, we're going to discuss the benefits to the Supreme Audit Institution of using the PFM reporting tool. And then secondly, we're going to discuss the Kenya report of December 2021, which she recently tabled to her parliament. Come with me. CPA, Nancy Gathungu, CVS, welcome to the Republic and welcome to the PFM on the couch at AFROSAI-E.
Thank you, Edmond, and thank you for having me.
Excellent. Look, Auditor General, you were appointed on 17 July 2020 and sworn in, and your life, I suppose, changed. Here's my question. Since then, what has been the toughest thing that you've had to do since you became AG?
Thank you, Edmond. And this job that I have taken as the Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya is not an easy job, and I'm sure other Auditors Generals will resonate with me. Now, the toughest part of this job, Edmond, was that when I was appointed as Auditor General of Kenya, there was a one-year gap between my predecessor's end of tenure and my appointment.
Wow.
And that created a tremendous amount of backlog that I needed to pay attention to immediately to clear, and at the same time ensure that the current work for 2020, as I was taking office, proceeded on track. So that was very, very tough. At least we have substantively cleared the backlog, and now we can say we are relatively current with the work that we need to do for the people of Kenya.
Excellent. Congratulations, Auditor General. I must say you make it look very easy, although it still sounds very difficult. But look, let's go to the PFM Reporting Framework, the tool that you have been very much involved in. Auditor General, this is not the first time that the SAI has used the tool, although it's the first time that you're going to be reporting. Now, what challenges have you faced between using the tool and publishing your report as you have rightfully done this time around?
The PFM RF tool, I would say from the onset, has brought in quite some benefits to the Supreme Audit Institution of Kenya, but also has its own challenges as we were implementing. It has been a journey for Kenya because we started off in 2018, but we decided instead of doing live assessments, we carried out an assessment using files that had already been audited and reports issued, just to gauge what kind of information did we need and what kind of information did we have. And we had a challenge because we realized that there were information gaps in the way the auditors were collecting information or evidence during audit. And then come 2018, we decided to do a pilot of using the tool. And we used information for 2018-2019. We carried that audit concurrently, but even though it was being done concurrently, it was the auditors, because they were going through a learning process, we ended up separating it from the mainstream audit. Come 2020, we decided to do it differently. And for the audit of the financial year 2019-2020, I told my staff that, you know what, we can't keep piloting forever.
Absolutely.
We've already had lessons learned, and we know that this tool is bringing benefits in the way we work and in the results that we are achieving. So I told my staff, let us implement. Of course, there was a challenge. You know, the pandemic had just hit as the teams were going to audit. At the same time, in SAI Kenya, we were also implementing the financial audit methodology and compliance audit methodology combined approach. So these were new areas that the staff had to learn and implement concurrently.
Wow. Wow.
At the same time, the tool requires that staff work, do work in a slightly different way. Financial auditors have to learn about root cause analysis, because this tool requires root cause analysis, and it is evidence-based. That when you ask a question of the auditee and they give you a response, you must get the evidence, you must evaluate the evidence. So the challenges were for the staff to really work with the tool and at the same time carry out the annual audits, which are timed. And the challenge that came about was I had now to separate the issuing of the National Audit Report and the issuing of the PFM RF Assessment Report. I would have wanted to issue the two reports concurrently, but I had to delay the PFM RF report by about 6 months to allow the national report to go out first, because it was part of clearing the backlog.
Absolutely.
And in Kenya, the national report is also used for other decision making, like revenue allocation and the sharing of revenue between national and sub-national levels. So, and that sharing is based on the latest audited accounts by the Auditor General.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is excellent. You speak really of situation whereby there were information gaps. Auditor General, are you insinuating that the auditors were doing a terrible job? Where was the information gap coming from, according to your understanding?
The auditors were doing a good job. But with the PFM RF tool, there is a lot of corroboration involved as you're doing evidence gathering. When the auditors were initially auditing, they audit the entities in a sort of a silo way. That if you move into the Ministry of Finance, if you move, for example, to the Ministry of Health, you audit it as a standalone entity. But the PFM RF tool requires that you corroborate information across the entities.
Wow.
And that is where the information gap was coming in. Again, because some of the assessment questions that we are asking through the PFM RF tool are not in the normal audit programs, then these were new areas that even the clients were asking, what is this that you're asking of us? Are you new auditors, or is this a new audit methodology?
Wow. Wow.
So that information gap needed to be closed to ensure that the report was more comprehensive.
Excellent. I mean, it reminds me of one speech that you mentioned at one time when you were talking about the PFM tool, and you described it as a game changer. Now, I want us to go to the benefits of using the tool. Surely there are benefits, and we want to hear about them.
Indeed, there are benefits. First is that this is, I would say, the first time SAI Kenya is doing a holistic assessment of the PFM system. And if we did not have the PFM RF tool, we may not have done this in the near future. But the tool has enabled us to look holistically at how does our PFM system inform service delivery. How is the implementation of the PFM system managed at the entity level? And when you consolidate the results at the entity level, what is the outlook at the national level?
Wow.
And that has been one of the greatest benefits. Again, now we are looking at issues to do with how does the PFM system respond to the National Development Plan, the implementation of priorities, the Sustainable Development Goals, and, of course, service delivery to the people in that area. So that has been one of the major benefits in terms of reporting to the clients. The PFM system has enabled more engagement with the auditees. It requires a lot of back and forth communication. In fact, I call it now we are communicating for results.
All right.
Previously, you know, auditors would go in, get the documents, ask a few questions, form an opinion, and pull out. But now it requires that you sit with the auditee and flesh out and dig out what issues are they facing, what challenges are they facing with the implementation of the PFM system, what are the root causes, and then you are able to give recommendations that speak to the root causes.
Wow. Look, the structure of the tool itself, AG, it is one tool that has over 400 procedures, audit procedures, and that is no mean feat when it comes to the level of audit rigor with which it requires. Now you tell me, with all the challenges that you've gone through, yes, the benefits have accrued. Really, is it worth it going forward? And if it is worth it, what is the way forward for you and your SAI using this tool?
The benefits outweigh the challenges because any time you're introducing a new tool or a new way of working or a different perspective of the audit work that we do as Supreme Audit Institutions, it requires some training. We would call these teething problems that you get when you're going through the initial use of the tool. But once the staff get comfortable, because the teams that I've been using have been more or less the same from the pilot to the current focused assessment, they have gained more in terms of skills because the assessment requires that you do work more in depth as an auditor.
Okay.
The assessment requires that when you're collecting evidence, you evaluate that evidence a little bit deeper and you corroborate. And this has been beneficial because I believe the auditors now using the tool, because it's not the entire SAI that is using the tool, have produced better results.
All right.
The kind of issues they've raised even at entity level, even the entities themselves are asking, have we changed? Have we changed the kind of audits that we are doing? Because it's more impactful and it's more value adding. So the way forward with this kind of information that and feedback that I'm getting even from the clients is to ensure that we train more staff who can use the tool to assess, is to ensure that the audit procedures are also available to other staff, because we can borrow and enrich the usual audit procedures that we use for financial audits or compliance audits. And we train more staff, and especially on root cause analysis, because that is a gap that we have discovered as an office that we have been having. So we will continue carrying out the assessment, because I have seen that report as one report that will be very impactful. Ed, I have to say that I'm still waiting for Parliament to discuss the report.
All right.
But the feedback I'm getting from the clients who are assessed is that they would like us to continue assessing them more.
Wow.
We use this report as a baseline, and we assess them next year or the year after to find out if they have changed or they have implemented the recommendations and what the results are.
Excellent. Wow. There we have it. The process is a little bit odious, it's requiring, but the benefits, apparently, they outweigh the challenges that one has to go through